Ted Weiher starved to death in a forest trailer full of food he never opened. This is the case of the Yuba County Five. They thought of themselves as a team. Ted Weiher was 5 young men from the farm towns north of Sacramento, Yuba City, Marysville, the flat green sprawl of California's Central Valley, where the orchards run to the horizon and everyone seems to know everyone. Most of them had known each other for years. 4 of the 5 lived with intellectual disabilities. Gary Mathias was different in one respect. He had served in the Army, and he lived with a psychiatric condition that his family and his medication kept steady. They came together through a local program for adults with special needs, and the thing that bound them, more than anything, was basketball. They played on a team called the Gateway Gators. They followed the college games. They studied the box scores. Their families described them in the same words over and over: reliable, punctual, careful with money. Men of routine who did not stay out late, did not wander, did not miss a meal or forget to call home. Jack Madruga, investigators were told, would not so much as drive down an unfamiliar road if he could help it. On the evening of Friday, February 24, 1978, the 5 climbed into Jack Madruga's turquoise Mercury Montego and drove to Chico to watch a college basketball game. They had a reason to be careful that night. Out of Chico, they stopped at a small market for snacks, junk food, soda, the ordinary fuel of a good night out. Then 5 young men who never strayed, who never got lost, drove east, into the mountains, into the snow. The Montego never made it home. On Tuesday, February 28, 1970, miles past Chico. Far up a snowbound mountain road that Jack Madruga, the careful driver who hated unfamiliar routes, had no reason on earth to take. The turquoise Mercury sat undamaged, pointed deeper into the wilderness. There was gas in the tank. The men were gone. One man had been up there that night. Joseph Scones, a Marysville man, had driven the same highway that Friday to check the snow near a cabin. His own car bogged down in the drifts. Working to free it, he felt his chest seize. A heart attack, out there alone in the dark. From the snow, he saw headlights stop behind him. He heard voices, men talking. A woman, he thought, and what might have been a baby crying. He called out for help. The voices fell silent. The lights went black. Scones crawled back to his car and ran the heater until dawn. By morning, the other vehicle stood empty. He later identified it as Jack Madruga's Montego. Inside the car, investigators found no blood, no broken glass, no sign of a struggle. The keys, the maps, the ordinary debris of 5 men who had stopped for snacks hours earlier. When deputies turned the ignition, the engine started at once. The car was not stuck. It could have been driven back down the mountain. That On June 4, 1978, the bodies began to surface. Ted Weiher was found 19.5 miles from the car, inside a Forest Service trailer, wrapped in bedsheets on a bunk. He had wasted away. His feet showed the black of frostbite and gangrene. He had been alive in that trailer for weeks, perhaps 2 or 3 months. Nearby lay the scattered remains of Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling, and the bones of Jackie Huett, identified in part by his father. Gary Mathias was never found. Robbery made no sense. Money was still on the bodies. Foul play left no marks investigators could point to. Gary Mathias's psychiatric medication sat in the abandoned car, unreached for months. The prevailing belief is grim and simple. For reasons no one has ever explained, 5 men who never strayed walked away from a road they could have driven and climbed on foot into the snow. Gary Mathias was never found. That absence sits at the center of everything investigators still cannot answer. No body, no bones, no grave in the snow 19 miles up the mountain where the others lay. One theory holds that Gary Mathias survived the longest, that he tended Ted Weiher in the trailer, that he walked out to find help and died somewhere the searchers never thought to look. There is no proof, only the missing shoes on Ted Weiher's feet and the empty space where Gary Mathias should have been. The questions multiply the longer you sit with them. Why did Jack Madruga, who hated unfamiliar roads, climb 70 miles into the dark? Headlights when he called for help? Why did 5 men leave a working car, with gas in the tank and Gary Mathias's medication in the glove box, and walk uphill into the cold? Investigators never built a case. They never named a suspect. They never closed the file. The Yuba County Five remains officially unsolved. Still, on paper, a missing person. His family searched for years. His mother kept his room. The case has since been pulled back into the light by podcasts, message board sleuths, and documentary retrospectives, each one circling the same locked door, each one arriving at the same place the deputies did in 1978. A mountain road, a turquoise Mercury, pointed the wrong way. 5 men who never strayed, gone into the snow on foot. They were careful men, punctual, reliable, frightened of getting lost. And every careful thing they ever did was undone in a single night no one has been able to explain since.